to have a couple of young filmmakers, 27 years old, come in and find new life in the movie. Rocky's story has basically been told.
Sylvester Stallone doesn't just play tough guys, he's lived through plenty of real-life drama. Behind the scenes, he reportedly holds serious grudges against 5 Hollywood stars. These weren't simple disagreements or industry rivalries. We're talking shocking betrayals, broken friendships, and clashes that got way more intense than anything seen on screen. Which actor allegedly crossed Stallone during a major moment in his career? And who came dangerously close to a real-life confrontation with him on set? Let's take a look at some of the actors most often linked to Stallone's biggest feuds. Number 5. Richard Gere. Back in 1974, Hollywood was packed with ambitious young actors trying to make a name for themselves. 2 of them were Sylvester Stallone and Richard Gere. Neither was a star yet. Both landed roles in a small film called The Lords of Flatbush. What happened during production would reportedly spark a feud that lasted for years, and it all started over something as simple as a sandwich. The film was a look back at life in 1950s Brooklyn. Stallone had even helped write the script, drawing inspiration from his own upbringing. For him, this project meant more than just another paycheck. It was a chance to show what he could do as both a writer and actor. Gere came from a very different world. He had a strong theater background and approached acting with a careful, detailed style. Cast as Chico Terrell, he focused heavily on preparation and technique. Stallone, meanwhile, relied more on instinct and raw energy. It didn't take long for tension to build. Their approaches were completely different, and neither seemed eager to adjust. With a small budget, a demanding schedule, and plenty of pressure on everyone involved, the atmosphere on set was already intense. Before long, those differences reportedly started turning into real conflict. Then came the incident that reportedly changed everything. It happened during what should have been a routine scene. The 4 main actors were packed into a car, preparing for filming after lunch. Nothing seemed unusual, just a few sandwiches from the set catering. But that's when things reportedly went off the rails. According to Stallone's version of the story, Gere was sitting beside him eating a sandwich covered in mustard. At some point, some mustard allegedly landed on Stallone's pants. Under normal circumstances, it might have been a minor annoyance, but tensions between the two were already running high. Stallone later claimed he reacted instantly. He said the situation escalated, and before anyone knew it, filming had come to a halt. The cast and crew were left stunned as an already strained relationship appeared to boil over right in front of them. Nobody seemed sure what would happen next. The production team faced a difficult decision. With schedules tight and money on the line, continuing with 2 actors who reportedly couldn't get along was becoming a serious problem. Eventually, the filmmakers chose to move forward without Gere. His role was recast, and his scenes were filmed again. Officially, the departure was described as creative differences.
It's
That's
good
what I
to
was trying
see
to say.
3 such physical and heroic figures sitting together in
amigos.
a friendly way.
Yeah,
Are you chums?
Yeah, we're all friends.
absolutely. I mean,
Are you?
Yeah.
Skiing
You
partners.
can't really stand beside each other, can you?
crossed poles.
Skiing partners.
Really?
We ski,
Yeah.
actually. Aaron and I skied last year.
That's right.
But rumors surrounding the real reason spread quickly throughout Hollywood. For Gere, it was an awkward exit from the project. For Stallone, it reinforced his reputation as someone fiercely protective of his work. Supporters saw him as determined and passionate, while critics viewed the situation differently and questioned whether his temper had played a role. Years later, both men went on to become major stars. Stallone found massive success with Rocky, while Gere built a strong career with films like American Gigolo and An Officer and a Gentleman. Even so, stories about their early clash have continued to follow them for decades, but that famous mustard incident never completely disappeared. What started as a small disagreement reportedly turned into a long-running grudge that lingered for years. Looking back, it's almost unbelievable. 2 future Hollywood giants connected to a feud that allegedly began over a mustard stain in a crowded car. Sometimes one small moment is all it takes to create a story people talk about for decades. While some celebrity feuds grow from personal issues or hurt feelings, others come down to something much simpler. Money. Number 4. Bruce Willis. Sylvester Stallone and Bruce Willis were once close allies in the action movie world. During the 1980s and 1990s, they helped shape the genre and became 2 of its biggest faces. Stallone had Rocky and Rambo, while Willis dominated with Die Hard. Together, they represented the larger-than-life action heroes that audiences couldn't get enough of. By 2010, however, the industry had changed. Action movies were evolving, and the classic formula that made them stars wasn't as dominant as it once was. That's when Stallone launched The Expendables, a project built around bringing legendary action stars back together for one massive throwback adventure. The idea struck a nerve with fans. The first Expendables movie was a major success, earning more than $270 million worldwide and proving there was still huge demand for old-school action. The sequel performed even better, creating excitement that these iconic stars could continue working together and introducing a new generation to the action legends who once ruled the box office. Willis was involved with the Expendables from the very beginning. He played Church, a CIA figure who didn't have a huge amount of screen time but still added star power to the cast. At first, it seemed like he understood Stallone's vision, a movie built around teamwork, loyalty, and celebrating the action stars who had dominated Hollywood for years. But when plans for The Expendables 3 started coming together, things reportedly took a dramatic turn. Stallone wanted to make the film bigger than ever, bringing in more famous faces and expanding the franchise. Everything appeared to be moving in the right direction until contract discussions with Willis became a major sticking point. Reports claimed that Willis wanted $4 million for just 4 days of work. That worked out to roughly $1 million per day, and the figure quickly became a hot topic behind the scenes. While large salaries aren't unusual in Hollywood, many involved with the franchise reportedly viewed the situation differently because the series had always promoted a sense of teamwork and shared commitment. According to reports, Stallone believed the movies were about more than just collecting a paycheck. He had built the franchise around bringing together action legends for something special. From his perspective, the negotiations started to feel less about collaboration and more about business. Attempts were reportedly made to find common ground, but no agreement was reached. Rather than accept the terms, Stallone decided to move forward without Willis. The script was adjusted, Church was removed, and Harrison Ford joined the cast instead. Ford arrived ready to jump into the project, giving the production a fresh boost. The story didn't stay behind closed doors for long. Stallone publicly criticized Willis and made his frustration known, something that's relatively uncommon in Hollywood disputes. His comments grabbed headlines and made it clear that this disagreement had become much bigger than a simple contract negotiation. The fallout was significant. After the split, reports and rumors began circulating throughout Hollywood. Some people started describing Willis as difficult to work with, while others focused on the contract dispute itself. Fans also noticed that he was missing from The Expendables 3, which only fueled more speculation and discussion. Stallone stood by his decision. He continued to present The Expendables as more than just another action franchise. For him, it was a project built around respect, teamwork, and celebrating the stars who helped define an era of movies. Anyone who wasn't fully committed, in his view, didn't belong on the team. The Expendables 3 still earned more than $200 million worldwide, but many fans felt the atmosphere had changed. The strong sense of unity that helped make the earlier films special didn't seem quite the same. Even as the franchise continued, some believed a key piece of its original chemistry had been lost. More importantly, this wasn't only about money. It became a public disagreement that damaged a long-standing professional relationship. What had once looked like a partnership between action legends had turned into one of Hollywood's most talked-about disputes. But if that conflict grabbed headlines, the next story may be even more surprising. What happens when a friendship that seemed solid suddenly falls apart? Number 3.
But you were all going up for the same roles, really, most of the time, aren't you?
No.
When
No.
Didn't you tell him for singing?
You'd like,
And for comedy.
you'd like to have done Rambo, wouldn't you?
When it's for less dialogue, then I move in. When it is for more physical stuff, he moves
No,
in.
yeah,
yeah,
but the
sure.
music-
Oh, yeah, that's right.
We
He's the
all
new
have,
Steve
uh,
McQueen.
No,
He
I
did
tell you,
that.
it's really interesting. All the parts that we played have been really defined and very definitive. Like, I couldn't have played a Terminator. I know that.
Eddie Murphy. In the late 1980s, Sylvester Stallone and Eddie Murphy were two of the biggest stars in entertainment. Stallone dominated action films with Rocky and Rambo, while Murphy ruled comedy with hits like Beverly Hills Cop and Coming to America. Beyond their success, they were known for having a genuine friendship. supporting each other and sharing a connection that stood out in an industry where lasting friendships can be rare. But then 1987 arrived, and the friendship reportedly began to unravel. According to long-running Hollywood stories, the tension started around the production of Beverly Hills Cop 2. At the time, Stallone was married to Brigitte Nielsen, who had a role in the film. She was already a major public figure, known for her striking screen presence and high-profile marriage. With so much attention surrounding the cast, it didn't take much for rumors to start spreading. Movie sets can create unique environments. Cast members spend long hours together, work closely, and often build strong connections. Before long, stories began circulating that Nielsen and Eddie Murphy seemed especially friendly. Whether those rumors had any basis or not, they quickly became a hot topic among gossip outlets and entertainment reporters. As speculation grew, ordinary interactions started getting scrutinized. Conversations, public appearances, and shared moments were suddenly being viewed through a completely different lens. In Hollywood, once a rumor gains momentum, it can take on a life of its own, regardless of the facts. For Stallone, reports linking a close friend and his wife reportedly became difficult to ignore. Even unproven stories can create pressure when they appear repeatedly in tabloids and entertainment headlines. The constant attention surrounding the rumors only made the situation more uncomfortable and emotionally charged. What may have started as industry gossip gradually turned into something much larger. Questions, speculation, and public discussion continued to build, creating tension that reportedly placed serious strain on relationships behind the scenes. And from everything that's been said about Stallone over the years, he's not known for quietly ignoring problems when they land this close to home. According to the story that's been told over the years, Stallone decided to handle the situation himself instead of relying on publicists, representatives, or carefully crafted statements. He reportedly reached out to Eddie Murphy directly to get answers. This wasn't said to be a casual conversation between old friends. By that point, emotions were reportedly running high. Rumors had been circulating for months, and Stallone allegedly wanted clarity straight from the source. Rather than relying on gossip or headlines, he chose to confront the issue head-on. The question at the center of it all was simple: what was really going on? For Stallone, the situation reportedly involved more than celebrity gossip. It touched on trust, friendship, and personal relationships. After years of being close, one difficult conversation suddenly had the potential to change everything. From Murphy's side, the call may have been just as intense. Whether he expected it or not, he reportedly found himself facing questions tied to rumors that had already spread throughout Hollywood. What began as speculation had now become a direct issue between two major stars. Murphy denied that anything inappropriate had happened, but when trust starts to weaken, reassurance alone doesn't always resolve the problem. Regardless of what was true or false, the rumors had already created tension, and that tension continued to grow. Soon, both men appeared to be looking at the situation very differently. Stallone reportedly felt hurt by what he was hearing and seeing, while Murphy was said to be frustrated that gossip had become powerful enough to damage a long-time friendship. The disagreement wasn't just about rumors anymore. It was about trust. Once entertainment media caught wind of the reported fallout, the story gained even more attention. Industry insiders talked, reporters followed the story, and speculation spread quickly. Before long, the friendship that once seemed strong appeared to be fading away. According to many accounts, communication between the two eventually became rare. Public appearances together disappeared, and whenever they found themselves at the same Hollywood events, they reportedly kept their distance. What had once been a close bond now seemed a long way from where it started. The friendship reportedly never returned to what it once was. The easy connection between Stallone and Murphy seemed to fade, replaced by distance and silence. Years later, Murphy spoke about how unfortunate it was that things had fallen apart. After so many shared experiences and good memories, the relationship appeared to unravel under the weight of rumors and damaged trust. The situation was made even harder by constant comparisons from the media. Entertainment outlets often framed the two stars as competitors, tracking their box office results, career comebacks, and public appearances. Whether fair or not, the rivalry narrative seemed to follow them for years. Despite everything, both men continued to succeed. Stallone remained a major force in action films, while Murphy continued building an impressive career in comedy and beyond. Their professional achievements never really slowed down. What appeared to be missing, however, was the friendship they once shared. There's something relatable about that story. Fame and success can open countless doors, but they don't automatically protect relationships. When trust is damaged, rebuilding it can be extremely difficult, especially in an industry where every rumor becomes a headline and every disagreement becomes public conversation. In the end, the lasting lesson wasn't about celebrity gossip. It was about trust, loyalty, and how quickly relationships can change when doubts begin to take hold. What started as a close Hollywood friendship reportedly became another story of two people who simply couldn't find their way back to where they once were. But if that situation was painful,
And Bruce, what he did with Die Hard is again a definitive character. They don't you align it to Rambo, but that's not true. It's a totally different kind of character. I think we've all carved out our niches, and they really don't overlap that much.
Are you moving away from the more physical parts anyway?
I don't.
Not me.
I thought you were being heartwarming.
I've just done a couple comedies, but that doesn't mean you're moving away from. You take a little breather.
You just add on.
That's it.
You add on to the kind of so you have a variety of different types of movies. I think that every actor is looking for doing different things, doing comedy, doing a romantic comedy, doing an action film, doing something, this with kids and then with a dog or with animals. I mean, you try to do different things, a Western, a war movie, whatever it is.
the next conflict was on an entirely different level. What happens when a Hollywood icon steps into your project and starts challenging your vision? Number 2, Kirk Douglas. By 1982, Sylvester Stallone was one of the biggest stars in the world. Rocky had transformed him from a struggling actor into a household name, and audiences couldn't get enough of his underdog story. Yet Stallone was already focused on his next challenge, bringing John Rambo to the screen. First Blood wasn't designed to be just another action movie. Beneath the action and suspense was a much deeper story. Rambo was portrayed as a troubled Vietnam veteran, struggling to find his place in a world that no longer felt familiar, giving the film an emotional edge that set it apart from typical action hits. First Blood tackled serious themes that went far beyond action scenes and explosions. The story explored issues like trauma, isolation, and the struggles many veterans face after returning home. Stallone wasn't just starring in the film, he was deeply invested in the message behind it and wanted to protect that vision. Then entered Kirk Douglas. At the time, Douglas was already a Hollywood legend. With classics like Spartacus and Paths of Glory on his resume, he was one of the most respected actors in the industry. When he showed interest in playing Colonel Sam Troutman, Rambo's former commander and closest ally, it initially seemed like a major victory for the production. But according to accounts from those involved, problems surfaced quickly. Douglas had read the original First Blood novel and strongly preferred its ending. In the book, Rambo dies at the conclusion of the story. Douglas reportedly believed that ending carried more emotional weight and wanted the film to follow the same path. That immediately created a major disagreement. Stallone had spent months helping shape the project and saw Rambo as a character with much more story left to tell. He believed the film should leave room for hope and future possibilities rather than ending with Rambo's death. Director Ted Kotcheff suddenly found himself caught between two powerful personalities. On one side was Stallone, who was heavily involved in developing the movie. On the other was Douglas, a screen legend with decades of experience and strong opinions about how the story should unfold. Reports suggest Douglas didn't limit himself to discussing ideas. He allegedly pushed for script changes and offered alternative versions of scenes that better matched his vision for the character. The creative tug-of-war became increasingly difficult for the filmmakers to manage. Meetings reportedly grew longer, discussions became more intense, and tensions started rising behind the scenes. Crew members could reportedly sense that something wasn't right. What began as a creative disagreement was turning into a larger struggle over who would have the final say on one of the most important parts of the film. For Stallone, this wasn't simply about one scene or one ending. It was about protecting the identity of a character he believed audiences would connect with for years to come. And as the debate continued,
It's much more fun and stimulating.
So you don't have a plan. You don't have a plan about where your career is going to go.
I should don't.
I have a plan. Sometimes it doesn't work, but I have a plan.
I have no plan. That I know for sure.
You know what I mean?
It's always a shot in the dark.
the pressure on everyone involved only grew stronger. What followed was a major creative showdown. On one side was Stallone, representing a new generation of filmmakers who wanted greater control over their projects. On the other was Kirk Douglas, a legendary star with decades of experience and strong ideas about how stories should be told. Neither man appeared willing to back down. Stallone was reportedly frustrated because he had invested so much time and energy into shaping First Blood. He believed strongly in the direction of the film and wasn't interested in making dramatic last-minute changes. Douglas, meanwhile, continued pushing for the original novel's ending, where Rambo does not survive the story. Eventually, director Ted Kotcheff reached a decision. According to accounts of the production, he made it clear that the film would move forward with the existing script. If Douglas wasn't comfortable with that approach, he would be free to leave the project. It wasn't a dramatic public confrontation, just a firm choice about the direction of the movie. Douglas chose to step away. For many productions, losing a major star during filming could have been disastrous. A change like that often leads to delays, added expenses, and uncertainty, but in this case, the unexpected shakeup created a surprising opportunity. The filmmakers quickly turned to Richard Crenna. With very little time to prepare, he stepped into the role of Colonel Troutman and got to work almost immediately. Despite the challenge, Crenna delivered a performance that many viewers felt perfectly matched the tone of the film. Unlike the version that had been debated earlier, Crenna's portrayal emphasized compassion, loyalty, and understanding. His calm presence balanced Rambo's intensity and helped strengthen the emotional core of the story. The relationship between the two characters became one of the film's most memorable elements. The casting change also had a lasting impact on the franchise. By keeping Rambo alive and preserving the ending Stallone supported, the film left room for future stories. That decision ultimately opened the door to one of the most successful action franchises in movie history. For Stallone, the experience became an important lesson about standing behind a creative vision. Challenging a Hollywood legend wasn't easy, but he believed in the story he wanted to tell and stayed committed to it. In the end, First Blood became a hit, introduced audiences to an iconic character, and proved that taking a risk can sometimes lead to the biggest rewards. And if the conflict with Kirk Douglas was intense, the next rivalry would be even more personal. This wasn't just another Hollywood disagreement. It involved someone whose career became forever linked to Stallone's. The question is, did their fierce competition end up helping both of them stay on top? Number 1, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Back in 1977, Sylvester Stallone arrived at the Golden Globe Awards riding an incredible wave of momentum. Only a short time earlier, he had been struggling financially and fighting to break into Hollywood. Then Rocky changed everything, turning him from an unknown actor into one of the biggest success stories in the industry. He was suddenly nominated for major awards and becoming a household name. That night, however, he crossed paths with someone who would become his most famous rival, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold entered Hollywood with confidence, a massive physical presence, and a personality that was impossible to ignore. According to Stallone, Arnold introduced himself as New Talent of the Year, making quite an impression right away. At the time, Stallone reportedly didn't view him as a serious threat and saw him as another bodybuilder trying to make it in movies. Then came the awards ceremony. While Rocky surprisingly walked away without a win that night, Schwarzenegger took home the Golden Globe for New Star of the Year. Stallone later recalled feeling frustrated by the outcome, and stories about that evening became part of Hollywood legend. According to Stallone, the tension between them started almost immediately and helped spark a rivalry that would last for years. As the 1980s unfolded, the competition only intensified. Stallone dominated the action genre with Rocky sequels and First Blood, turning both Rocky Balboa and John Rambo into cultural icons. For a while, it seemed like he was the undisputed king of action movies, but Arnold had other plans. He quickly built his own action empire with films like Conan the Barbarian, The Terminator, and Predator. Each success pushed him closer to Stallone's level, and fans constantly compared the two stars. Who had the bigger muscles? Who had the bigger box office numbers? Who was the true action king? Before long, their rivalry became one of Hollywood's most talked-about battles. Industry insiders, reporters, and fans followed every move, turning the competition into a constant headline. Stories even circulated that the two were trying to outdo each other at every opportunity, making their feud one of the most entertaining rivalries in movie history. The competition between Stallone and Schwarzenegger only got more intense as the years went on. Every time one of them raised the bar, the other seemed determined to go even bigger. Stallone showed up stronger and tougher in the Rambo films, while Arnold answered with larger-than-life performances in movies like Conan the Barbarian. Fans couldn't get enough of it, and the rivalry became part of the fun. Neither star was above taking playful shots at the other either. Arnold famously appeared in Twins and briefly mocked a Rambo poster on screen. Not long after, movie fans noticed that Tango and Cash included a character many believed was a humorous nod to Arnold. Whether intentional or not, audiences loved spotting these little jabs back and forth, but one story stands above the rest. According to Arnold, he came across the script for Stop, or My Mum Will Shoot, and immediately felt it wasn't a strong project. He later claimed he showed interest in it, knowing word might get around. Stallone reportedly heard about it and pursued the role himself. Whether the story unfolded exactly that way or not, it has become one of Hollywood's most famous rivalry tales. When the movie was released, it struggled with both critics and audiences. The film became one of the most discussed missteps of Stallone's career, and the story surrounding how he landed the role only made it more legendary. It was the kind of Hollywood prank people still talk about decades later. Of course, the rivalry wasn't one-sided. Arnold also faced setbacks of his own, as both stars experimented with comedy and different genres. Not every project connected with audiences. For the first time, it seemed like neither man was unbeatable, and the competition started feeling less hostile and more like two larger-than-life stars learning the same tough lessons. Eventually, the feud cooled down. Time passed, careers evolved, and the two action legends found common ground. They even appeared in films together and openly joked about their old rivalry. What once looked like a never-ending battle gradually turned into mutual respect. Looking back, their competition may have helped shape an entire era of action movies. By constantly trying to outdo one another, they pushed themselves to work harder, take bigger risks, and create unforgettable characters. From Rocky and Rambo to The Terminator, fans got some of the most iconic movie moments of all time, because these two stars refused to settle for second place. And that's our list of the actors most closely tied to Sylvester Stallone's biggest Hollywood feuds and rivalries. Which story surprised you the most? Which rivalry do you think was the wildest? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with other movie fans. And don't forget to comment with your thoughts. We'd love to hear what you think. Thanks for watching, and check out the next video on your screen for another incredible Hollywood story.